Welcome back to the European Challenger Series playoffs, where we probably had the most one-sided game I've ever seen, at least in Challenger. I've seen plenty of one-sided games, but that game was basically done by 5 minutes. Like, pretty much. First game, it was like a complete turnaround. Like, Epsilon just looked destroyed in Game 2. So I just want to see them go back to what they did in Game 1, because Game 2 was like, yeah, it was just over.
Yeah, I kind of want to break a fourth wall perhaps a little bit here and go with some of our discussion about how we were coming into this series, because like I'll make no mistake about it. We thought that this is going to be a Misfits favored series.
Sure.
Like just in general, it was like, okay, it's likely to be a heavy win for them, but at no point will we like, well, they're just going to win in 20 minutes and that's it. Yeah. We always were like, well, Epsilon, they have a couple of factors that maybe can play into their
player experience, for example.
Like, player experience. They've had like playoff games before. The problem is like Game 1, it looked like they used all of that in like the first 10 minutes, and their steady nerve has gone completely out of the window. So, I mean, I don't want to say we're going to have another game that's like 20 minutes long, but when we look at it, Misfits are just playing out of their mind in comparison. After that 10-minute mark in Game 1, they've just turned it straight on.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when Selfie just picks Cassidy and just like goes off, and like bot lane as well. Like, I've been really impressed by Ignar. I mean, we were praising him during like the regular split, but I don't think he's ever turned up as much as like today. Even picking up Alistair as well. We had a tweet come in from Hansamo. He said, "I feel bronze 5 when I play next to Ignar. Lol. Senpai is teaching me so much as a player in and out of game." I also want to know what's happening outside of game, but at least in game, like he is carrying him like so hard. He doesn't need to do anything. He just stands there, right clicks, and then that's like 4 kills easy. Yeah. Both games as well. It
was great. First game as Thresh, then second game, I don't think we've seen quite. We haven't seen many Alistair performances especially not in the current meta.
Yep.
Go this well. And again, like the stats are inflated because of the lead that they got, but you can't overlook that, right?
Yeah.
Is they just got a lead and then they won the game.
Pretty much.
Time.
And I think both games were very much set up by Ignar. I feel like if Ignar didn't do that, then they would have picked up advantages anyway.
Yeah.
But it was still, you can't look past the fact that Ignar is doing so well in the bottom lane. Just really impressed by the bot lane synergy. One of the questions we had coming into the split for Hansam was like, will he actually adapt into this team with Misfits? Because one of the biggest strengths for Millennium was that they were really good at team play and just working as a unit. Misfits are very fragmented, but still very strong. And I think Hansam is perfectly fit into this lineup, and like even better so, or even more so with Ignar. So yeah, just a progression of at least that duo lane, if not the entire team, is really impressive to see.
Yeah, really impressive. You know, we wanted to compare, perhaps at some point we were like, hey, it'll be a good talking point in-game to go, are they better than Origin were? Are they better than Millennium were? I don't think they're quite perhaps as well-rounded as those teams were at the time, but I think when you look comparative to everybody else right now that is in Challenger and potentially the bottom of LCS, you can say, well, they should realistically sweep everybody right now.
It's difficult to call the comparison right now. I think that's something we should definitely go back to when we hit like the finals at least. But I mean, if you take this game by itself, like sure, they look absolutely on par. But let's get into this third game here. Could be our final one unless Epsilon pull out something absolutely crazy. Rise and Azir banned and CosQ. And again, the support bans from Epsilon, they would have just all 3 bans towards Ignar. Okay, take away the Sivir this time. I mean, that was picked up last game. Don't think it was the reason why Epsilon lost on the seat. Karma aimed at Noxiac. And again, first pick Nidalee for both teams has been the first pick in every single game so far.
And it's dominated the jungle matchup in both games. The only time that Kyrie really took it to Wisdom was catching him 1v1 with the Cocoon initially, and that ended up in that weird trade top lane where it was like 2-for-1 in favor of Epsilon right the way back as the second set of kills for game 1. So if we see the same matchup, there's the possibility that we can go the similar route. Woolite's going from one long-range AD carry to an even safer long-range AD carry perhaps here with the Ezreal. There's no way you're getting Alistair comboed as an Ezreal, surely, if an Alistair even comes out. GP's still up if Althari wants it. He's played at both games. Hansama has the option to has the option to Lucian again. Now that Sivir is not banned. Sorry, Sivir is banned and Lucian is available.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the Lucian picked up in the early rotation with Gangplank again. Alfaro's played it every single game, been impressed by it. I mean, he's just had to go even in laning phase, and the rest of his lanes have just bodied their lane opponents, so he just comes into mid-game fine.
They've also picked its second rotation every game, so it's not like they're afraid of anything being picked into it.
Yeah.
So Epsilon haven't found an answer in 2 games. So for Misfits, they're thinking, well, how are they going to find it in a third?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you haven't done it twice, then
it was Trundle and Gragas, and yeah, neither did enough work against it. So let's see Ezreal. Do they play like a really defensive support as well? Like pick up like a Soraka or like a Janna or like a Nami. Yeah. Just ultimate peel. It's like, alright, just don't die bot lane. That is your goal for this lane. So Elise has been picked up for Kirei, again, the comfort pickup. And Rumble lock in. Alright, for Sartorius against Alphari. Please, actually, are they actually going to lock that? They locked in Janna and Ezreal for the bottom lane.
Great.
Well, at least they're thinking the same thing we are. Like, just try and keep the bot lane alive. Go
further away from them. So, for the Rumble, now they've got a matchup that can at least output a little bit of presence early. It's not amazing until you get to team fights. So matching global ult with like long range ult after a TP, almost, maybe.
Close enough.
Close enough. Haven't seen that matchup too much, especially not here in Europe. We've only been really seeing Gangplank in like LCK and a game here or there in the European LCS, so it's not one we've settled back into too much yet, but certainly is on the rise when you look at GP's pick rates.
I thought we were going to see Aurelion Sol again. Bard pickup and Vladimir, cool. So yeah, Selfie's had a lot of good Vladimir games already, so no real surprise there. And that was late into the rotation, and Bard as well for Ignar. So he's actually had a different support every game now. All playmaking supports actually. Thresh, Alistar, a Bard.
And you know, when Dreams swapped in for Misfits earlier on in the split, we actually said that Dreams looked better on Bard than Ignar did, which was super funny because everyone was like, Ignar's such a good support.
Yeah.
Like, we see that, but I think Dreams
from what we've seen, So Ignar's trying to show him up in this game here.
Now we get to see the Bard come out from Ignar, which we actually have heard a lot about, I'll be honest. And the Cassiopeia again, okay.
I see no reason not to. I mean, Kozku's been fine mechanically every single game. In fact, game 1, he was superb with his roams. We
also initially, when Vlad was getting played a lot, started hearing about the Cassiopeia matchup into Vlad and how it should be doing okay, but that actually started petering off a fair amount here in Europe specifically. People tried playing the matchup and decided they didn't like the matchup quite as much as everybody was making it out to be a decent one for Cassio. So still, Selfie's going to have the same kind of potency as ever. So if he gets the same lead that he's had, he could easily go off on this Vlad. But Kozku in game 1 on Cassiopeia had a good game for himself.
Very, very true. So what are Epsilon looking for this game? It's, okay, bot lane, you survive. Kozku and Sartorius, you try and get to mid-game team fights. And Elise, try and do what you can early game. Maybe try and get Kozku a couple kills, try and scale into that mid-game. Misfits, I guess same as last game, like lane dominance. I mean, when you're running Lucian Bard, I mean, what else are you going to do in that bottom lane other than just try and kill your lane opponents?
I don't know. We'll find out the answer to that question hopefully soon, Pulse.
We will indeed. Well, use the hashtags one last time. MSF win and EPS win. We'll see if we can get like 99%. We were up to like, what, 96% I think last game to Misfits, so we shall see.
I was going to say, I don't know whether we'll get to 100. That would be a total collapse of Epsilon fan
or maybe
base.
The 4%. If you are the 4%, then I wonder, has that ever happened? Like, has like a 4% victory happened in terms of fan vote versus reality?
You mean that they've got 4% and
and then won?
Yeah, that's happened. That kind of thing's happened a bunch of times. A lot of the time it's when it's like in the LCS when it's like either TSM or Fnatic versus X10th place team.
I mean, I know we've seen like, 92%, 93%, but have we seen that much?
I'm pretty
we probably
sure.
have,
Somebody somewhere might be keeping track of this. Probably not.
Has like an Excel spreadsheet ready for this one occasion.
I was born to give you
for this one moment.
Oh dear.
Ancient coin from Noxiac. Kirei has found wisdom. This is the matchup that we saw game 1 actually. Oh, I cleared out the wards as well. GG, game over. Well, Keyray was like all over Wisdom. He actually did a really, really nice job. It's actually where Wisdom just walked past now in the early lane phase in game 1 where Keyray picked up that kill. So we'll see if Keyray can replicate that game 1 success. Selfie, he's on as Vladimir. Only really seen good things from Selfie in this bit.
Yeah.
And additionally, Selfie has been a very different player. One of the questions, at least I had in the back of my mind, was, is he going to be a different player on LAN? Just from what we've seen from him in like LCS and previous times we've seen him on bigger stages. So far, nothing. Sartorius has to burn his flash at 2 minutes as Ignar comes down and ganks his own lane.
Yeah, I mean, Sartorius shouldn't really even be that far pushed up. Like, in this 2v1, he must have had vision on Hansam. I'm going to go back and check, 'cause he was standing in lane against him, so this is not exactly the best. So hang on, I'm going to rewatch it through on my, if you keep track of what's happening exactly.
I am indeed. Noxiac was trying to steal away that wolf, didn't quite get it. Put a decent amount of damage onto Wisdom and Alfari, but that's all Janna will really do.
So Sartorius actually didn't have vision on them, so didn't read that it was a 1 versus 2. Again, checking the Keystone Masteries. I'm realizing with these two teams I have to be more focused on the main screen at the beginning of the games.
I mean, you can look at stuff over there. I'll make sure to keep track of the kills that will happen, but has this been the longest time since we've seen a kill go down? Maybe game 1 was a little bit longer until we saw a kill.
We breached 3 minutes.
And no kills. Unreal. But it is a lane swap, so it's to be expected. But I'm sure these two teams will find a way to make a kill happen shortly. I just wonder whether a lane swap is better for Epsilon so they don't start bleeding out as soon as the game starts.
I am going to go with yes. I'm going to go with yes, they don't immediately like lose the early game like game 2 happened. Game 1 they had a good early game, so we'll see whether they can go from the same kind of point and take it forward. The other thing that is going to help prolong this game is the fact that it's a Cloud Drake, so nobody wants it. If it had been an Infernal, perhaps we may have had a little bit more fighting, a little bit more action going on, but...
Yeah. I mean, the irony is, we haven't actually had early game fights over dragons. That's true. They've been fighting each other in their lanes in the jungle over Wraith camps. Like, it's just, yeah, it's just been anarchy.
That's fair. Ooh, Keyray. Ooh, I like this play. Come on.
And Hansam is so far in front of his... Why would you aim the cocoon there?
You also didn't need to fire the cocoon yet. Like, you can...
Just walk up to him.
You can wait for him to flash. Because you can bait... This is something that Maxwell was talking about, is you can bait the animation out by using W, because it's the same casting animation, or very, very similar as Cocoon. Yep. So you bait the animation, bait the flash, and then you Cocoon after them to stay on top of them. So that's just poor execution. I mean, that should have been a free kill. That was level 2 Handsammer, Keyray in the bush. He could have just walked in behind him, yeah. That was frustrating.
That's sad, because that could have been a really nice setup for the top lane there. But either way, Hansam will get away with that one, scot-free. And nothing else is happening in terms of items just yet. Selfie's not doing another Dark Seal build.
Yeah, I mean...
He's Vladimir this time, so he doesn't benefit as much as Kasten does, unfortunately.
Wisdom?
Keyray's going to find Wisdom. I mean, Wisdom's very low, and there's first blood. Didn't need to flash, but there we go. I mean, Wisdom just doing what he was doing game 1, way too aggressive. Similar
to game 1, over-aggressive in this matchup, does not read the fact that if he gets cocooned there, he's going to die.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, he was dead if anyone turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Selfie hadn't been able to push quite as effectively as he'd want to be able to regroup, but now you can see he's putting the damage down onto Cosq and effectively trading, but in the minions plus Cosq's poison eventually evens that up. Now Selfie's got to be careful of mid lane.
Oh, and Neurotoxin follows up with the Repel, and will give up. Top lane's going to go down to Misfits, and bot lane will go down to Epsilon as well, so everything is just happening as per normal with these side lanes. Top lane's going to die first to Misfits. So another unsuccessful gank from Keyray. Got gifted that first blood, so needs to try and convert this into something more for Epsilon. I mean, he is trying. Now he's lower mana, Wisdom is high on mana. This is my turf. Wisdom's going to turf him off.
Wisdom just died in the enemy jungle, but because he's now on the strong side for himself, or what previously was, Epsilon hadn't recalled from the bottom side. This is why Wisdom feels confident enough to just go back into the enemy jungle.
Yeah.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, and now he's going to ward up, although he doesn't actually have any wards.
He's not even deterred at all.
He just wants Krugs. That's all he wants right now. Sit by Alphari as well, just for a little bit of hand-holding. Ignar's going on Sartorius again.
Sartorius, hits him with the flash before Flash comes down from Sartorius. That was, all right, Ignar, I see your bard. That's good.
I see it. That's one of those interactions that, to be on the receiving end of,
tilts
is
you.
very frustrating, because it's the same with any kind of like spell shield, or if you just dodge. If that second point of contact hits the wall, it doesn't matter how far away you got from the first point, you are getting locked down, my friend. And that's what happened.
Uh-oh.
Ignar,
wait, he can't take the portal! Destroyed.
I did not realize grounded. Oh, of course, I guess it would.
Because it's technically a dash, I guess?
I guess so? That's not an like a...
Good to know.
I've not seen that before.
Well, that was a nice setup from Ignar. Let's see that again. Yeah, I think he physically just couldn't click it.
And he like stands in front of the wall and expects to be able to take it out.
I actually haven't seen that interaction before.
No, neither have I. But today I learned, which...
Because he's trying to be annoying, and he, like, if that miasma wasn't there, he'd be able to get away. Yeah, he can't click it.
He can't click it. That's funny. Okay, that's very funny.
We've learnt a lot, actually, today.
Yeah.
What's the other thing? Wisdom. This time getting caught out in his own jungle. Sartorius chasing him down. Ah, no, the blue started resetting. So Epsilon probably can't pick up the blue. Noxack's there. Maybe they can. Wisdom's down to half.
Hansama in the bottom lane has Kyrie around. Don't really know whether Hansama wants that 1v1 right now, but he does have a big minion wave with him, so generally that would be able to balance it. Cosq, hang on.
Selfie diving mid lane. There comes the miasma, so has to be careful of that. Kirei is there to defend. A flash forwards from Selfie, trying to pick up the skill. Sanguine Pool, he's ticking down.
Got him.
He's going to try and pick up the kill. It's still very close. Selfie getting so much of his health back from that Crimson Rush. Wisdom's camping on top of the rappel. Selfie will finally go down. Kirei will get javelined for another kill to Wisdom. So that was a 2-for-1 trade. Misfits do come out ahead there.
Yeah, 2-for-1 overall there. Selfie going behind the enemy turret looking for the kill in the jungle time and time again. We were talking about how he's going to be confident after his last game. 20 CS up at the same time. Still a CS lead as well in the bottom lane. And Alphari is ahead. Alphari has had a fair amount of time to sit down on a side lane without having to do too much in the way of fighting, whereas Sartorius has constantly been involved and is actually losing out to Wisdom.
Yeah, one-on-one. I mean, it is level 8 versus level 5. Actually just 1v1 by the jungler there.
So Wisdom has gone from dying one-on-one in the enemy jungle to power farming his way up to 56 CS. Now has 2 kills because of a level advantage, where Sartorius hasn't even hit his ultimate yet. This hasn't quite been as catastrophic as the last game for Epsilon, but it is starting down the same path very quickly.
I think you also have to turn your attention to the CS differentials in every single role.
Yeah.
Alphari, 45 to 17. Ignar, he is... I mean, he took the portal this time, but he still got killed. He is level 4. Selfie being pushed out, but he has a 20 farm advantage in the mid lane, almost more than that, almost up to 30 now. Bot lane has an advantage of 10 CS. Top lane literally doubles the CS, Gangplank up against Rumble. So even though Misfits are trading kills back and forth, they are so far ahead in terms of gold just because of how the CSing has gone in the lanes.
Yeah, luckily 2 assists has helped Sartorius keep relatively even, but Alphari does have the experience advantage at least, so although they're both level 6, Sartorius is at least half a level up, behind on Alphari. Now we're looking at the 1v1 on 80 carries, which has not really gone Woolite's way, but he's got friends.
He's got the support of the cannon barrage. Wisdom's coming in here. It's still 2 versus 3. Woolite's dropping low, and Wisdom should be able to pick up this kill. That's a 1-for-1 trade on the ADC so far. Alphari late TP. Cosq's into the top lane. Does not get the stun off, but lands the javelin. Wisdom wants to go in. Was not in range for the pounce. He tried it, but Cosq was able to slither away just in time. So ultimately just a 1-on-1 trade.
Yeah, 1-for-1 in that top lane. Man, for now, Misfits, they still have this lead It's just over 2,000 gold, despite kills being even. So Hansama, you can see what he's trying to do for the rest of this trade. He knows he's boxed in, so out comes the Gangplank ultimate, and Wisdom tries to pull up. So Hansama first baits everybody towards the GPL, then Hansama cuts back in to try and get more damage, which does actually help them pick up one of the kills onto Woolite. I think Wisdom had it anyway, but from there it's fairly straightforward, and it was an even trade afterwards.
Noxiac did have to burn Flash though, so they got the extra summoner there. Noxiac could have died. 4 of the kills so far from Epsilon have actually gone on to Keyray, so a lot is on his shoulders to try and make this game go their way. Wisdom as well, despite dying to Keyray in his own jungle, is also putting in a lot of work, 3-1-0. So it is the battle of the junglers currently. Hansama, there is a Keyray in the bush. Gonna sidestep the cocoon, and I don't feel like Keyray wants to be here anymore. Wisdom's gonna follow after, and there's no way you're gonna get away from a Nilly at this point. They're actually gonna feed the kill to Hansama.
They want Sartorius, they're just going like, yeah, you take him, we'll get the next
He's
one.
already dead. I mean, everyone was full health, so no one was in danger of dying.
This game, we're continuing where the last one left off, unfortunately, if you're an Epsilon fan.
We're getting to that point for sure.
Yeah. It is. Woolite and Alphari, though. Under the turret, I think Alphari is probably just going to be able to take him out if he goes on this. He's got Selfie there as well.
Yeah, Wisdom is cutting around the mid lane, but so far in this game, Wisdom, Misfits in general, not just Wisdom, do seem to be getting the upper hand. That was not the desired portal from Ignar.
Got him.
And the Woolite is going to recall on the spot where he was trying to get the portal to go to. Yeah, this is just a very weird game. Like, even if you take this game like outside of the context of how this best of 5 has already gone, it's just like kills being traded back and forth, no real objectives being picked up off the back of those kills, and it's just like, all right, we're gonna fight for the sake of fighting, and then just go back to what we were doing, and then rinse and repeat, and that's been this game thus far.
Yep, that has pretty much been everything we've got from this game. Proto belts are plenty for now, 2 already completed. I don't think that Hextech revolver's going towards another one, but
who knows?
Stranger things have happened.
I mean, what else would you pick up from the revolver?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about it. I don't. Yeah,
we've seen it before, but I mean,
just
if you're gonna try and carry, you might as well just try and go all out. Wisdom got it. Hansama just poking away at Woolite, and successful steal on the buff. Misfits will back off. Everything is right with the world. Yeah, pretty much. There's not a whole lot to say until we see these teams start contesting objectives, start taking a little more on the map with 2-2 towers.
Yep.
And as you already mentioned, it's Cloud Dragon, so neither team, unless there is no one there to contest at all, will go for that dragon.
Yeah, nobody wants it. I mean, right now, when we're looking at this game, like Epsilon at least are holding a little closer than previous games. Maybe akin to game 1 or Selfie.
He's caught out. After flash over the wall, Sanguine Pool.
Is he actually
He's
out?
still burning. And he's out. He's out.
Proto belt and he's out.
1v3.
Wisdom didn't even care. Wisdom's just here doing Dragon. Epsilon are hardly even going to check it, because why would anybody be soloing Cloud Dragon? Because it doesn't mean anything.
They took it, apparently.
And he's gone.
Next one's going to be Ocean. So, again, not as high priority compared to Mountain and Infernal. Still nice to have, but generally nice to have earlier on into the game. Kodsky will find Hansama with the ultimate frozen in. The ult animation is going to be close, and it's 1-1. Hansama comes out on top, but he's bleeding. Kodsky will find the kill with the poison in the end for a 1 trade.
So there was a bit of an assist, goes over to Alphari for that as well. Got the first hit, I believe, as they picked up the kill. Oh, I wasn't sure whether Hansama was going to get that kill, but I guess should have believed in Hansama at that point. Unfortunately, dangerous game. Not enough.
No. Almost. Very, very close. That may have been like the last 2, almost second last tick. Oh, Alphari does a lot of damage. Ignar's there to follow up.
So does Sartorius,
Equalizer will force out the flash, and the portal will bring both Ignar and Alphari to safety. It is. Oh, apparently nothing's going to happen. So we can see the 1v1 trade. again.
So,
the shootout, the duel.
Hansama didn't have flash, so couldn't really avoid that ult because you are locked in the direction there.
Tagged by the Noxious Blast at the very last moment. Rip. Otherwise, he would have survived that. Oh, Kirei walks into his own jungle, immediately finds Wisdom and Ignar. So much damage coming in from Nidalee, but True Shot Barrage evens up the table. Oh, auto attack follows him down the magical journey and doesn't find the other side of it. Will be forever trapped in that wormhole. Another kill to Epsilon.
As long as there's no Iris on the other side of it.
I mean, apparently, I mean, there was no corpse, so apparently just, yeah, got splatted against the Iris. Ripperoo. Selfie will eventually take down this mid lane turret with the help of Hansama and Ignar. Ignar, his bard has been decent. He's had a lot of roams, he's saved a lot of people.
I feel like he's
not
playing
being as flashy.
Quite loose, though.
I feel like everyone is actually on Misfits.
That's fair.
Apart from Alfari. He's just been farming up a storm.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, Selfie's been caught in the enemy jungle. Hansama went for the 1v1 mid lane. Wisdom's be diving turrets.
You say farming up a storm. He's only on 104. Wisdom is out farming him from the jungle. So
you're not wrong, Stress.
I'm not trying to nitpick here, Pulse.
I mean, you have a perfectly good piece of criticism, so I'll accept that. Relative to Sartorius, who's actually caught up to him. So in fact, the point is just null and void.
It's fine. Look, it's all good. It's been a weird
Relative
series.
to Noxiac, he has been farming up a storm. I actually wonder how he's doing in terms of his Silver Serpents. Here comes another invade from Misfits. No Javelin from Wisdom, so he'll back off.
He is 340 with no upgrades.
It's not even good. I take back that statement entirely. Not been farming up a storm. What has he been doing?
I don't know.
Because he hasn't been making crazy plays like the rest of the players on his team.
He's being reliant on side lane farm being pushed towards him, and you can see like Selfie's absorbing one of them right now on the bottom side. So comparatively, he hasn't always had access to the farm. Sometimes we play that game of tennis when it bounces one way, it bounces back. He will get himself a Rift Herald when it doesn't reset.
That'd be the worst game of tennis if it took that long to bounce back and forth. You just serve and then you just like sit there for like 30 seconds and wait for the ball to get to you.
2 mile an hour serve.
Yeah. Yeah, that would suck.
Tennis is can be boring enough as it is.
That's true. You would not want to slow it down even more. Hansama.
Did he just bait them in?
Oh, this is a lot of damage. Double tap flash. Q kill over to Hansama. He'll back away. Cosq's coming in. He just needs a twin find for the kill. Q is going to find Wisdom. He has to flash over the wall. He's poisoned. He may just tick down. He's got the heal coming out. Kirei is still chasing after him. Nidalee is away. Noxiac did die, so that's a 1-for-1. And that's it. Okay.
1-for-1, very close on Wisdom dying there as well, but the rest of Misfits managed to get away. Selfie still has his ult and his Proto Belt here. I don't really think he'll go aggressive, but it's Selfie, so who knows? He pops Ghost.
Well, Kirei needs to be careful. I think it's just from Crimson Rush. Yeah. Makes you very speedy. Has the same animation, to be fair.
And the fact that, like, because of Cloud Drake, he's like,
super fast.
Flowing wind all over the place behind himself.
Yeah, that's why Epsilon are keeping their distance from him right now. Tempered Fate onto Noxiac, but Epsilon still take the mid tower.
I guess that explains why it's only like plus 15 movement speed.
Yeah,
it's just a little tailwind coming out.
That's true.
So
I mean, it's just a sick play, but.
I mean, Hansama just is walking the wrong way down. If he cuts left out of that because he's trying to avoid the Ezreal ultimate, if that ult isn't there, he probably gets away from that because he doesn't have to walk down towards Cosq. So the 20-minute Baron play.
And they have absolute vision here because they have 2 pink wards, so there's no way it could be warded. But Epsilon, with everyone off the map, will head over here. So Misfits have to stop it for now. Not quite the same sneak Baron that we saw game 1 from Epsilon. Just 21 minutes in, and there is a gold lead to Misfits. It's not game ending.
Yeah, not as significant as the previous games have been. Although when you look at the individual roles, you do start to see a couple of difference is a lot of this goal lead is between Hans Sama and Ezreal and Woolite. So, I mean, that's 3 for 3 on that happening.
Indeed. I mean, it's not quite as bad as the first 2 games. There's definitely, relative to the first 2 games, this has been slower. With 16 kills at 21 minutes, you would typically say is a fast game in EUCS. But yeah, between these 2 teams, generally we've seen Misfits just have a ridiculous gold lead. And yeah, again, there's kind of more stare downs. The difference in this game is teams have not really been picking up objectives off the kills. But everyone is quite strong.
I'm trying to find silver linings for Epsilon without being disingenuous, because I just have felt like watching these games, there haven't been a lot of positives. Like maybe the partnership between Kairi and Cosq has been better than previous weeks as we look towards the fight starting.
Ignore gonna receive the True Shot Barrage. Misfits probably don't want this fight anymore, and they are scattered. Epsilon may be able to find 1 exit kill, but they are still dancing around them. Miasma will keep them more at bay. Cosq's looking for an ultimate. Will have to flash away. Kira's going to take the Javelin. Ignor's just kind of dancing around Cosq. Oh, he gets hit by the Q.
Oh,
he's ticking down. Heal. Not going to be enough. Cosq will get that 1 kill. Where are Misfits going? They're going into the mid lane to try and take this tower.
No, they're trying to stop Epsilon. They're already taking it down.
Yeah, well, Kira drops immediately. There's the equalizer. Sartorius needs to be careful. He gets destroyed by Selfie. Now he's chasing after them. Nice Howling Tornado will knock him up. Wisdom's falling after Warlight, but he's not going to win this trade. Selfie will have to come in there to try and save him. Tides of Blood. Hans Sama chasing after Cosq. He's got no ultimate.
No flash for Hans Sama.
Will give him a shield, and he's still chasing after him. Hans Sama needs to be very careful. Yeah, Miasma will stop him, but Alfari and Wisdom are on their way up.
Up the river they come.
Do they know there's a snake in the grass?
Hans Sama check.
Noxiac, he's backing away. Oh, needs to be careful. All right, he stops the recall. Miasma, maybe he can pick up a kill in return. Nope, Ignore, he's back from the grave to get his revenge.
Oh, man. Oh, and straight into the Baron as well. I mean, that whole sequence, Epsilon were trying to continue to push on for a tower to get something in exchange. This Baron is dying fairly quickly, despite being so early on in the game.
All right, well,
no, it's
on
too
you.
early.
No.
Oof. Oh, Sama was the one that got it.
Okay. Still, Misfits with the Baron, and now this game has really started to turn significantly in their favor. This was weird.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because Epsilon at this point, they're already committing to the mid lane push, which means that Misfits will just rotate around and kind of collapse in from behind. So this is a fine play if you're on even standing, because generally Cosq can do enough to zone here, but you can see they are most certainly not on even standing once this fight actually starts. It's not a fight that Epsilon can actually afford to take here, and realistically it's only mobility that prevents Misfits from getting these kills initially here. They can't quite close the distance, which prolongs the fight, but the actual strength of Misfits is such that if they had the ability to close that gap, they would have killed Epsilon and gone Baron even faster.
Yeah, and just the final blow to Alfari.
Oh.
So
Epsilon won this again.
Yeah, Epsilon coming in here. Kira will jump forward. He did build the Proto Belt. Everyone trapped in there from the Tempered Fate. Cosq and Warlight set up to be taken down by Hans Sama. Wisdom's following after as well. There's 1 kill. There's 2, 3. Stealthy coming in from the top side. And then middle turret is being sieged in as well. Ignore coming up big. Again in game 3. Definitely my player of the game if we had one. And Wisdom is going to tank up the tower and straight up die. Middle tower. Unfortunately, there's no minions for a little bit, so they need to be a little bit careful. But 20 seconds remaining on 3 of the members from Epsilon. Sartorius does have his ultimate and Noxiac, so they should be able to survive for now, but they are going to lose an inhibitor.
At least the one for now. I mean, they're going to turn around here and potentially kill Sartorius if they weren't so low health, but you can see how low Hans Sama is right now. Misfits are going to back away. We are only 25 minutes into this game, so closing out quite that quickly is not really an option, but you look at how strong they are, and realistically, we're 1 fight away from this game being over.
Pretty much. Epsilon are on their final legs in this series. It has been a very fast one. They need to pull some magic out of their hats in this game, because they are very far behind. There's a Baron on Misfits. There's only been one Dragon picked up, but yeah, I just fail to see what they can do. They have 2 proto belts, so that's nice. But other than that, I'm not really sure.
Like proto belts are like Batman's utility belts.
Well, that's what you have to hope.
Anti-Misfits 3-0 spray.
That would be helpful.
I mean, it would. Yeah, that's about all I think would be the conclusive end to this if they were to win this. But, I mean, Epsilon, it's a tough one because they've never really been in a situation where they've been in enough control to win a game.
Damn, that 200 range nerf from my ultimate. Otherwise, that would have been a kill. Cosq and Sartorius pretty much getting soloed by Alfari's ultimate. Sartorius is going to go down. Kirei trying to skirt outside of the cannon barrage. Woolite just comes in from the bot side and jumps into the team, instantly dies. Alfari flashes forwards to get the angle on the barrel. Both of them drop there. Triple kill from Wisdom. Self-killed Handsamer. Yeah, we're just finishing off the Nexus. And Noxiac is by himself trying to defend. And just like that, Misfits will come in for the win here. And to be expected, you have to feel Misfits just having a little bit of fun as well as this game ends. Very decisive win, very decisive series. Misfits toying with their food.
Yeah, the minions are going to end this one at a minimum. This is Misfits making their way to the Challenger Series Finals.
Yep, pretty much. I mean,
commanding fashion.
Very, very impressive from Misfits. Kind of what we expected, and they did it with style as well. I mean, honestly, in the last 2 games, they did not try hard to finish off those games. Like, they knew that they had the game by, like, mid-game. They knew they had last game by 5 minutes in and just literally played for kills, honestly. Like, yeah, they could have closed that game out maybe 5 minutes faster. They could have closed the other game 5 minutes faster. It doesn't matter. They still picked up the 3-0 very, very convincingly against Epsilon. To be fair, Epsilon looked better in game 1, but we saw all that go out the window in game 2. Maybe a little bit better in game 3 as we had a lane swap and they could like actually get further into the game before going for objectives, before going for trades. But we saw a very similar story as the game progressed. Yeah,
it's so similar, and a lot of the reason for game 3 is, like, as you said, lane swap from Epsilon. Also, then they picked like this Ezreal Janna to try and sit all the way back, and I mean, it worked in the sense that like the bot lane had less deaths this game than previous games. They weren't in a 2 versus 2 situation constantly getting caught out. I mean, games 1 and 2 both had double kills in lane, in standard lanes, which we almost never see. Like, that is so rare these days that you lose a double kill in a 2 versus 2 for nothing.
But to be expected, honestly, from Handsamer and Ignar. They've been very impressive, and if nothing else, more impressive on LAN. Yeah, I'm just very excited to see them go into the promotion tournament. I really want to see them perform against some of the LCS teams because I think it could be very interesting. Because there's a very real possibility of seeing them actually get 2v2 kills. Because Ignar was landing like great hooks. He was landing great tempered fates. Alistair as well. I don't think people will make the same mistakes that like allowed him to go for those engages in the laning phase as Alistair. But still, I was really impressed by Ignar. Like, I think he was probably the MVP for, if not 2 of those games, all 3 of those games for me.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. Like, if we were doing player of the game, like, we would be committing like votes to this. I think this is a tough series to note, apart from maybe game 2. I think Ignar is like 100% game 2 player of the game, but like the other games, like Selfie had a bad start in game 1, but then got a quadra kill. Like, Alfari did a good job all 3 games.
Alfari stole a Penta, so he should get that one.
Wisdom in game 3 went off. Like, there's just so many options that like these players are completely outplayed.
That's true.
It's one of these series where I'm like, I wish we could talk about more. Because unfortunately, there wasn't a lot really to break down other than them just kind of rolling over them and crushing them.
I mean, before we kind of close this one down, like talking about Epsilon as well, like at least maybe looking towards next split for these guys, they still have shining lights on that team. Like Cosq, I think performed fine in like all the games we saw him. Game 1 was particularly impressive. Keyray was actually pretty good in the series, and Sartorius as well. We didn't see a lot from him because he just kind of got wrecked after the lane's already crumbled, and then people rotated to his lane, and it was like, well, I can't win 1v3.
Yeah.
Bot lane was underwhelming considering how they did in the regular season. I wasn't expecting that performance out from Wellite and Noxiac, but yeah, the pressure was too much from Hansam and Ignar. So I don't know. I think that triangle, like Coscu, Keyray, and Sartorius, was still pretty strong. Like, they did do well in those games, but it just wasn't enough.
And I think we've seen them do well in previous games as well, right?
Yeah.
That's I think the frustration when you look at their 2-0 week compared to this week. Obviously, there's a big difference in their opponents, but like, we just didn't really see a lot from Epsilon. Like, I don't know whether they just either had a game plan and they could never play it out, or whether they just didn't really have the plan for more than one game, because they had it in game 1 and then games 2 and 3 could never really find a foot.
That seemed to be pretty much the story there. We are going to take a look at the final fight, though, in the top lane from that last game, and just break that one down real quick. But, I mean, every single game was just...
You can hear it.
Yeah, you can,
but we'll
see
it soon.
Yeah, it's not going to just be like a radio cast. We don't have to just imagine what's going on. But
it'll be on your screen in just a second, guys. We are just waiting for that replay to come up. So this is Noxiac at the end of it, kind of just staying alive. We didn't actually catch Hans Sammer pushing into the rest of the base from here, but needless to say, it was a pretty quick and swift end to this game. This was top lane, just so much damage. Woolite goes forward here, trying to go aggressive, and Wisdom's already got himself a double kill. Coscu desperately trying to hold on at the end of this one to some sense of semblance, trying to get that double stun off, but at this point Misfits already kind of in front of the Nexus, and I guess we don't need to see the rest of that. And surprise!
Just like magic!
Magic of showbiz.
Selfie. But yeah, we just brought you here for a quick interview before we wrap this one up. And what a crazy game, or what a crazy series. I mean, this was over so quickly. We've been here for like 2 hours, and the series is already over. So congratulations. I mean, honestly, just like talking about that series, did you feel at any stage that you were going to be threatened by Epsilon, or was it just...
Well, to be honest, in game 1 was... we were a bit worried about our early game, but even if we fall behind, especially I was really behind this game because I made overextended, but we didn't really feel threatened because we usually, even if we fall behind in early game, we do well in mid game and late game. So maybe just game 1 we were a bit worried, but other than that, yeah, I think we were not really worried, especially after game 2 and game 3. People already were like kind of relaxed in the gameplay, like just going for some plays. But yeah,
I want to ask about game 1 because that's the interesting one. The Malzahar, you blind picked it. Was it something you've worked on? Was it something you think is very strong? What was the thinking behind Malzahar? It was fun to watch.
Yeah, so I practiced a lot of Malzahar. Even before I saw anyone play it, I just seen like one solo queue player play it, and he wrecked me super hard. Not really in lane, but like in late game it was super strong. So I was thinking about picking it up. I asked millennials around, but no one really told me it's good. So I tested it myself. I saw it's good, and maybe into Casio it's not like the greatest matchup because she can take your passive very easily with her W or Q, and with Deathfire touch, your shield recovers longer because it has stick. And yeah, it's just, I think it's blind pickable, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were surprised about, the fact that you like blind picked it and then Cassiopeia was picked up. Yeah. Were you aware of that interaction where if you both ult at the same time, then Malzahar gets wrecked?
I didn't think of that at the time, but even if I think it was just really bad by me, but I didn't think of that. But
I don't think so. I mean, like you can't really predict that Cassiopeia are gonna do that at the same time, but it was still good to watch.
From that game, there was nearly a penta for you for Malzahar.
Yeah.
How's that been with Alfari the last 2 hours? You mad at him?
It was funny because everyone was shouting penta, 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 especially like our Koreans were super loud. And Alfari is like not saying anything. It's like he's surprisingly quiet. And then I just hear pick.
I know, that was like the perfect setup as well for a Penta where everyone kind of just backed away.
I could redeem myself after the terrible early game.
Unbelievable. But how was preparation coming into this match as well, Selfie? Were you looking at someone in particular? Did you have like a game plan going into it? Or were you just like, let's just win our lanes, let's just go for these picks that are going to win laning phase and just try and win it that way?
So I think our preparation was not really good this week because we got a lot of scrims cancelled from a lot of teams, and we didn't really want to scrim like outside of Europe League teams. And I think my condition today was really bad too. I didn't have much sleep. Same for my old teammates because we're a bit nervous, I would say. But yeah, just a little bit lack of practice, but we were not really that worried about the series. Other than like after the game one, no one was really worried that we can win.
Yeah, I mean, the nerves didn't show at all from what we saw there.
Yeah, very convincing games 2 and game 3. So your series completed, you're in the finals. Tomorrow we have Huma versus Millennium. Do you have any thoughts on which team you think will be facing off against you next week in the finals?
Well, to be honest, I like a lot of Millennium players and a lot of Huma players, so I will not say my prediction who will win.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah,
well,
but I think both teams are pretty strong.
Yeah, I think so too. It will be a very interesting one to watch. And thank you very much for the interview, and congratulations, of course, on the win. 3-0 in just over 2 hours. Very, very impressive. But we are going to now round out the show. So make sure to tune in again tomorrow. As we were just talking about, Vedius and Sifa will be taking over the caster desk to bring you the second semi-final between Huma and Millennium.
Yeah, it's going to be a close series. I think a little closer than today's, perhaps, and we'll see who faces off against Misfits. But, as always, if you missed any of the games today, you want to recap on anything to do with Challenger, head over to eu.lolesports.com.
Yes, indeed. And also make sure to tune in again at 2 a.m. CET or 5 p.m. Pacific time if you are over there on Wednesday, Primetime League, where this guy is going to fack off against FNC's Spirit.
That recording that segment was very fun. Very, very funny. After that, the North American Challenger Series semi-final is going to be taking place between Team Liquid Academy going up against Nova. So that's going to start Wednesday, 3 a.m. CEST, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, if you're a time traveler like us.
Yes, and so there's a lot of Challenger action and action of League of Legends coming your way all over the world, but that is it from us. So from myself, Stress, and Selfie and the Challenger broadcast team, thank you for watching, and Sifa and Vedius will be bringing you their best of 5 tomorrow, so tune in then. Good night. Ignar, he's going to literally just walk up to Noxiac. He actually just walked up slowly and knocked up Noxiac, and will probably be looking for the kill here as well with the Ignite First Blood to Handsama. As meanwhile, Handsama driving low to Warline. He's got a flash after him, but he's outside of range. Handsama's already backing up, but Kirei's here. He'll flash into his own jungle. Warline's trying to pick up the kill, but it's not like he has E. Now he's trapped in the enemy jungle. Oh no, Misfits are just going to kill him. Selfie's low as well. Whoa, auto attack from Warline. It's not going to be enough. Kirei is trying to save his allies. What was this level 1? Oh no, Warline, he's got nowhere to go.
Put more traps.
Try and cut off the escape route. Handsama's gonna flash after him. Warline, everyone chase down Warline. Here's the hunting party. Oh, Selfie's gonna find him. 21 minutes. If anything, Misfits should be disappointed that they didn't get the fastest game in the world. At least they got wisdom. The only has to have earlier on into the game. Kozq will find Handsama with the ultimate frozen in. The ult animation is going to be close, and it's 1-1. Handsama comes out on top, but he's bleeding. Kozq will find the kill with the poison. Kirei walks into his own jungle, immediately finds Wisdom and Ignar. So much damage coming in from Nidalee, but True Shot Barrage evens up the table. Auto attack follows him down the magical journey.
No, they're trying to stop Epsilon. They're already taking it down.
Yeah, well, Kirei drops immediately. There's the equalizer. Sartorius needs to be careful. He gets destroyed by Selfie. Kirei will jump forward. He did build the Proto Belt. Everyone trapped in there from the Tempered Fate. Kozq and Warlight set up to be taken down by Handsama. Wisdom's following after as well. There's 1 kill. There's 2, 3. Selfie coming in from the top side. And the middle turret is being sieged in as well.
It's a tough one because they've never really been in a situation where they've been in enough control to win a game.
Damn, that 200 range nerf from my ultimate. Otherwise, that would have been a kill. Kozq and Sartorius pretty much getting soloed by Alfaro's ultimate. Sartorius is going to go down. Kirei trying to skirt outside of the cannon barrage. Woolite just comes in from the bot side and jumps into the team, instantly dies. Alfaro flashes forwards to get the angle on the barrel. Both of them drop there. Triple kill from Wisdom. Selfie and Handshammer. Yeah, we're just finishing off the Nexus.